hearing that it just stabs you right in your heart. These were babies.
Police now say the fire that killed 3 children didn't start from items near a space heater, but a teen with a flare gun. Plus, West Virginia's tainted water will flow right through Louisville, while local officials aren't worried.
We've got the opportunity for snow showers, and we're going to see much colder air moving in, and some of the data suggests wind chills near 0.
When the temperature dropped into the single digits, and then once you get that, plus that cold air that was blowing.
Get ready to wait a while for help.
And then once the ice thaws out, you're left with a hole.
If you're not protecting your pipes.
From Louisville, WDRB News at 10 starts now.
Good evening and thanks for joining us, everyone. I'm David Scott. Elizabeth Woolsey is off tonight. It now appears a flare gun and a property dispute could be behind that fire that killed 3 children. Tonight, an 18-year-old is facing murder and arson charges. WDRB's Bennett Haberly explains the twist that led authorities to Cody Cashin. Bennett.
David, Cody Cashin was already in jail in Clark County on unrelated charges following his arrest last week. But it was information that was gathered after that arrest that led Floyd County authorities here to take a closer look at that fatal fire.
As we look at this case today,
Floyd County prosecutor Keith Henderson announced the twist, that a fire that killed 3 children was no accident.
This is an extremely serious matter, very tragic case.
Already charged in Clark County with intentionally ramming an SUV into a Clarksville police officer, 18-year-old Cody Cashin now faces 3 counts of murder and 1 count of arson. The fire, initially blamed on items too close to a space heater, is now being blamed on Cashin and his flare gun.
The flare, we believe, was shot from a car.
6-year-old Tasia, 4-year-old Tyrese, and 2-year-old Trinity all died in the blaze. 5-year-old Tatiana survived but suffered burns over 20% of her body. The children were just visiting when that blaze broke out January 4th. Prosecutors allege Cashin fired a flare gun at the house in an act of retaliation stemming from a property dispute. The person he was after, Henderson claims, wasn't home at the time.
And that's all I want is justice for Tasia, Tyrese, and Trinity, and for Tatiana's suffering.
Henderson says information gathered after Cashin's arrest last week led Floyd County authorities to take a closer look at the fire.
I know that he had one, but I'd never seen one when he got out for stealing one at Walmart.
Cashin's girlfriend didn't want her face shown, but admits Cashin owned a flare gun. She doesn't believe he's capable of committing the crime.
I just think that they're trying to make him look like a monster on TV, and he's really not.
Already grieving the deaths of her grandchildren, Marie Clark is troubled by the latest news.
To hear that it was arson in itself was enough. It was like I didn't need to hear anything else. Hearing that it just stabs you right in your heart, to know these were babies. And these were babies.
Prosecutor Keith Henderson left open the possibility that others could be charged. Now, what exactly led investigators to Cody Cashin? Well, that's unclear, and it could remain that way for some time, given the fact that the probable cause affidavit, the court document that could spell this all out, that's now been sealed. Depending on when the warrant is served, Cashin could appear in court in the next day or two. Reporting live tonight, Bennett Haberly, WDRB News.
Thanks, Bennett. LMPD officials say a teenager slammed into a police car in Shively this evening after a pursuit. Fortunately, no one was hurt. Police say an officer responded to shots fired near 22nd and Muhammad Ali around 6 o'clock. That's when police say he began following a vehicle matching the description. The suspect pulled over near North Lane and Gars Lane, and police say the driver then made a U-turn and rammed into the police vehicle before hitting a telephone pole. Officials say the 17-year-old suspect tried to take off but was detained at the scene. He's charged with assault, criminal mischief, and fleeing and evading police. Hodgenville city clerk now admits she used the city's gas card to fill her personal car, but she says it's the city that owes her money, nearly $200,000. Only on WDRB tonight, Gilbert Corsi talks with Madonna Hornback, who is breaking her silence over the charges she faces, along with the city's mayor.
Did you misuse these gas cards?
No, sir, I did not.
I asked Madonna Hornback the same question 3 times, and each time she revealed a little more in her answer. Did you use the gas cards to put fuel in your personal vehicle?
I used the gas card, but not only did my card get used, it was just a gas card, had my name on it. but everyone used it.
The indictment is that you're using the city card to put gas in your personal vehicle.
Yes, I did. I'm not going to say I didn't, but I also used my personal vehicle for city use.
It's the first time we're hearing from Hodgenville City Clerk. We found her back on the job Tuesday morning, moments after this arraignment, where she pleaded not guilty, along with Mayor Terry Crews, to charges of abusing public trust and theft. They call the case against them politically motivated.
I think this whole thing's been blown out of proportion. I hate it for the community. I hate it for me. I feel like me and my staff's done a good job here.
Meanwhile, Hornback filed a complaint with the Kentucky Labor Cabinet saying the city of Hodgenville actually owes her some $197,000 in unpaid overtime. She says the city accountant changed her status from hourly to salary in 2009 without approval.
Yes, I realize it looks bad that I came in now and done it. I was told previously that I would get paid.
I do remember telling her to keep up with it, but it's the mayor's responsibility to pay her for it.
WDRB discovered Hornback's salary has more than doubled since she took office as city clerk in 2007, from $12 an hour to $24.75 an hour. She says she didn't come forward about her pay problems earlier because some city council members already wanted her fired.
What difference does it make if they fire me now? At least I might get my money.
As more problems come to light, pressure mounts against the embattled city leaders to resign.
That I will fight it to the end.
Gilbert Coursey, WDRB News.
There was also a fight this morning to keep the discovery in this case from going public. That was denied. The file will be unsealed in 10 days unless a higher court steps in.
Now it's going to get a lot colder, and I think we're actually going to see wind chills down near zero a little later this week. So
again,
I know it's been a tough stretch.
Hopefully we won't have more of the problems that we had last time. Now, people across the metro area still dealing with the aftermath of those burst pipes caused by last week's deep freeze, and many are still waiting for help to arrive. WDRB's Emily Muir talked with crews tonight who are working around the clock trying to clean up all that mess. What a job.
David, plumbing and water restoration companies are booked solid. Many of them are putting customers on waiting lists. A crack as small as this one in a pipe just a few inches wide spewed 6 feet of water into the basement of this home in Louisville's Germantown neighborhood.
This one flooded out the water heater, flooded out the furnace.
Tyler Redding with Mazur's Plumbing says when temps get seriously cold, the water inside the pipe freezes and the ice swells, causing the pipe to split, and when it thaws out, you're left with a hole. Even those who left their water running experienced issues.
I had mine running at my house, full on, whole house still froze up.
Redding says they're working overtime just trying to keep up with demand.
So you're talking 12, 15 hours a day. We even ran Sundays. I think we're taking calls now all the way into next Thursday, next Friday.
And he says that's unusual.
Typically, we don't get that busy. We have 14 trucks on the road, so we have enough to stay with what's going on at the time. But when you get hazardous weather, any type of storms come in, I mean, all trades pick up.
Plumbers aren't the only ones working nonstop, because when they finish up, then it's time for restoration.
It all started Tuesday afternoon, and it's been pretty much nonstop since then.
Mitch Reeves is the restoration manager at Coit Services in Louisville.
More calls have been coming in than we can handle, probably about 25 to 30 calls a day. And usually, we get maybe 2 or 3 calls a day.
He says they've been so busy, they've had to rent more equipment.
The problem hasn't been the desire to help people, it's been the availability of equipment.
Many customers have been put on waiting lists, but crews say you shouldn't have to wait longer than a week for services.
Be patient, try to deal with us, wait.
And for those of you waiting, mold is a concern, but Reeves told me that the cold temperatures should prevent that. Live in the control room tonight, Emily Muir, WDRB News.
Emily, thank you. The man accused of murdering his co-worker at a Kroger store is now also charged with theft. 18-year-old Aaron Cross pleaded not guilty today. Police say he worked as a cashier and bagger at the St. Matthew's Kroger and would type in codes on items to receive discounts that he wasn't entitled to. Investigators also say other employees were in on the scheme, which cost Kroger more than $560. Cross is already in jail, charged in the November murder of his co-worker, Jack Combs. I'll take a close look at these images taken from surveillance video. Police are asking for your help tonight finding 2 bank robbers who both hit yesterday morning. The first targeted the Chase Bank on Preston Highway near East Indiana Trail. Police say this man gave a teller a note saying that he was armed and demanded money, but got away with nothing. They're also looking for the suspect in a separate robbery at the Chase Bank on South Shelby Street. Police say that second man got away with an undisclosed amount of cash. If you recognize either of these men, you're asked to call the anonymous police tip line. The number there is 574-LMPD. Many of you have called us or sent Facebook messages today asking what's going on in Valley Station. Well, it turns out it was LMPD's SWAT and hostage negotiation teams. They were called out to help detectives at a home along Riverdale Road this afternoon.
Detectives were out here on an investigation. They observed something that they believed to be a home invasion. They felt the need that may necessitate for SWAT and H&T to respond. They did respond. They were here a short while.
SWAT team members were staged in a nearby parking lot but never actually had to enter this home on Riverdale Road. Fortunately, the situation actually ended peacefully. Police are now talking to those involved to see what, if any, charges will be filed. That snarling traffic you may run into soon is just another sign of progress, why it means forward momentum for Louisville. A chemical spill pours into the Ohio and is now flowing straight toward the metro. We find out if there's any danger to local residents. And a new pro sports team wants to come to the Derby City.
What happens when giving the poor a helping hand turns into a long-term entitlement? It's the way we've waged the war on poverty, and I'll be talking about that coming up on Point of View.
Traffic may be slow going for a while, but consider it another sign of progress for the East End Bridge project. Crews will begin striping and installing signs along Port Road and Indiana 265 tomorrow. Thursday, all traffic on Port Road will be shifted to the current southbound lanes just past Centennial Boulevard. That's expected to last a year. At the same time, westbound lanes on 265 will shift to the eastbound side. Ramps to 62 will be rerouted. Those changes will be in effect through March. Well, those chemicals that tainted a West Virginia river and virtually shut down the Charleston area for days are now headed our way. Should we be worried? What are local officials doing about it? WDRB's Valerie Chin finds out.
Water from the Ohio River comes to this reservoir, then it's tested by the Louisville Water Company and filtered before it comes to your tap. Louisville Water Company scientists are now testing water samples from the West Virginia chemical spill last week. That water in the Ohio River is expected to reach Louisville Thursday night and Cincinnati Tuesday night. But the Louisville Water Company says there is no health threat. Cincinnati is shutting down some of their water intake valves. Why not do that here in Louisville too?
We don't think we need to. We really do not see a need to do that. It's a taste and odor issue. We can deal with it with the carbon. At our BE Pain plant in Prospect, riverbank filtration means we don't have to shut those intakes down because the ground's going to filter that compound out for us.
Kentucky Emergency Management, along with other state agencies, are also monitoring the water quality. Emergency Management says at this time there are very minuscule amounts of the chemical being detected.
The only concern we have is a little bit of sweet odor, and that's where the carbon comes into play. The carbon will absorb this chemical.
Rain Gao Song, the manager of water quality, says if the chemical is detected here, it'll be in parts per billion, saying that's one drop in 500 bourbon barrels. What do you say to residents who are still skeptical that you say there's no health concern?
Public health is what we do at Louisville Water. I always like to tell people, when you think about it, we have the health of the community's hand right here in the palm of our hand.
The Louisville Water Company also says its scientists conduct 200 water quality experiments each day, and by the time the water is filtered, residents shouldn't notice anything different. On Wednesday morning, Louisville Water Company employees will be testing upriver in Carrollton and other cities. At the Crescent Hill Water Treatment Plant, Valerie Chin, WDRB News.
Local soccer fans are trying to bring a new pro sports team to Louisville. A group called the Louisville Coopers threw a party at Molly Malone's in the Highlands tonight. Their goal to show potential investors that Louisville has plenty of support for the game, and they're already making some headway. Orlando City Soccer Club is moving into Major League Soccer in 2015, and ownership wants to relocate its existing minor league team to Louisville.
You've got a growing marketplace, you've got a great youth soccer marketplace, you've obviously got a great supporters group right here tonight, which is growing and burgeoning all the time. Put those together and I think you'd see a success right here in the city.
Local architect Wayne Estopanol is a part owner of Orlando City and has helped facilitate the discussions. A Tumbleweed is closing down a fourth of its restaurants. The move, the owners say, will improve the business.
A sunny winter day gets us thinking about Derby 140. So what are the new attractions racing fans will see later this spring?
I don't think this is going to make me popular. I think by the end of the week, some of us are going to see wind chills that go sub-zero. I'll talk about when to expect this coming up next.